a small part of the pie, but a necessary part of the pie.
Lithium ion. You need to redesign the ship.
How do you fit 7 people into a sedan? And so we approached the process.
Hopefully you guys saw it down there and you experienced. It comes in through the openings that already exist. I wish it went in like this big piece like this, but there's actually people coming in and out of the car. And this allowed us to do things in parallel.
BYD's next-gen Blade battery wipes the floor. With Tesla, just 3 months, that's all BYD got before Tesla snatched back the crown as the world's top electric vehicle seller. 1/4 of glory, and then it was gone. But instead of sulking, BYD came out swinging. Hard. This week, they dropped something that could make Elon sweat, the next-gen Blade battery. And no, this isn't some minor tweak. This is a straight-up overhaul. A new breed of battery that charges faster, lasts longer, runs cooler, and costs less. And yes, it might just wipe the floor with Tesla's best efforts. Let's cut straight to the biggest shocker. BYD's new Blade battery just hit 190 watt-hours per kilogram, up from the original version's 150. That's a 27% energy density boost, without making the battery bigger or heavier. Translation? More power and same size. This means longer range without a bulky, bloated pack. In practical terms, cars running on this battery can go much farther per charge. And that's been one of the biggest complaints about EVs since day one. But it's not just range. Charging speed just got a serious upgrade too. The new Blade battery can hit 30% to 80% in just 30 minutes on a fast charger. That's not wishful thinking. It's already been demonstrated. For years, the EV world has tried to close the gap between pumping gas and juicing up a battery. This is as close as anyone's gotten. With 1 megawatt charging potential on the horizon for BYD's next platform, this could soon feel like plugging in a phone, not refueling a car. So, how did BYD pull this off? They didn't stumble into it. This wasn't a happy accident. It's the result of obsessive R&D, smart chemistry, and full control of their supply chain. Unlike Tesla, who still relies on external suppliers for their LFP batteries, BYD builds everything in-house. Every gram of material, every manufacturing step, fully controlled. No middlemen, no markup, no waiting on suppliers. This gives BYD the freedom to experiment, refine, and, when it lands on something revolutionary, scale it up immediately. The core magic still comes from LFP chemistry, lithium iron phosphate, which BYD has mastered like nobody else. No nickel, no cobalt. That means no reliance on expensive or ethically controversial materials like cobalt mined in the Congo. It also means lower cost, because iron and phosphate are dirt cheap compared to nickel and cobalt, and it's safer. LFP doesn't catch fire easily. Remember those viral battery fire videos? LFP doesn't do that. BYD's battery can take a nail through it, get crushed, or be exposed to crazy heat, and it stays cool. No smoke, no explosion, just nothing. Even Tesla saw the writing on the wall. That's why they started putting LFP batteries in their base Model 3 and Model Y vehicles. But they're buying those cells from Chinese suppliers. Meanwhile, BYD is designing, producing, and installing their batteries at scale. That kind of control isn't just convenient, it's a total game changer. BYD also made breakthroughs in heat management. Normally, batteries heat up when charging or discharging. That means you need complex cooling systems, more cost, more parts, more problems. But the new Blade battery barely generates heat to begin with. It's engineered to stay cool under pressure, which extends its lifespan and simplifies the whole car. Fewer parts, lower weight, higher efficiency, and it doesn't stop with the battery. BYD is cranking out entire EV platforms to support this new tech. The next-gen platform supporting 1 megawatt charging is already in the works. That kind of power was previously reserved for commercial trucks or ultra-luxury prototypes. No BYD wants it in passenger cars. Fast, efficient, and insanely scalable. Let's not ignore the global moves either. BYD's been on a tear in Europe. entering 15 markets in just 11 months. They're not just building better batteries, they're building a global empire. Their cars are cheaper, safer, and now they go farther and charge faster. That's a killer combo. Tesla's still leading in brand recognition, but BYD is beating them on fundamentals. If this were a race, Tesla just felt a chill on the back of their neck. Meanwhile, BYD also just unveiled something that sounds like science fiction: a fully functional flying car with a price tag of $4,999. Not a typo, a flying vehicle cheaper than most iPhones. The tests are already done. They want it on the road, well, sky, by 2030. Think that's ambitious? Sure, but this is BYD we're talking about. The company that went from making batteries for cell phones to challenging Tesla in global EV sales. If they say they can do it, the industry better believe them. While others were busy tweaking their old lithium-ion designs, BYD leapfrogged over the competition. They didn't try to fix battery problems. They removed them entirely. Lower cost, safer materials, faster charging, longer life. The new Blade battery solves the 4 biggest EV complaints in one go. It's not a step forward, it's a reset button. And here's what should worry: Tesla, VW, and GM the most. Switching to this model isn't easy. Their factories are built around cobalt-heavy cells. Their supply chains are deep in nickel contracts. Their production lines, tooling, and partnerships are all locked into yesterday's battery tech. Switching now means a painful, expensive pivot. BYD already made that pivot 5 years ago. Governments are starting to notice too. As the EU and other regions push for faster EV adoption, the pressure is on to make clean cars cheaper, safer, and more efficient. BYD's already there. Everyone else is playing catch-up. This isn't about hype anymore. It's not about flashy launches or billionaire CEOs talking big. It's about execution. And BYD? They're executing with precision. They're not just building the next electric car, they're building the infrastructure, the chemistry, and the vision that make those cars viable for the masses. If this Blade battery performs in the real world like it does in the lab, then BYD won't just be competing with Tesla, they'll be outpacing them. And in a few years, we might not be asking whether EVs can beat gas cars. We'll be asking whether anyone can beat BYD, and just like that, BYD flipped the script. Not only on electric cars, but on the future of urban transportation. For decades, flying cars were the stuff of comic books and overpriced prototypes. Big promises, flashy concepts, and sky-high price tags left regular folks stuck on the ground. But now, BYD has taken that dream and parked it squarely in reality, with a flying car that costs less than a weekend vacation or a mid-tier smartphone. At $4,999, they didn't just launch a vehicle, they launched a revolution. Most of the industry's flying car prototypes have been reserved for luxury buyers, elite investors, or overhyped tech expos. BYD didn't follow that crowd. Instead, they walked into the arena with a production-ready design and a price that ordinary people can actually afford. That bold pricing move has stunned analysts and caught competitors totally off guard. What's even more impressive is how much of China's national innovation playbook this rollout reflects. Over the past few years, the country has quietly, and now not so quietly, cemented itself as a powerhouse in robotics, artificial intelligence, battery tech, and clean transportation. This flying car is just the latest chapter in that story. Only this time, the story includes everyone. It's not just about access, it's about shifting the power dynamic. A 5K flying vehicle puts pressure on competitors in a way we haven't seen since the launch of the original Model T. For context, most flying car concepts being developed in the US, Japan, and Europe are priced north of $150,000, often climbing to $500,000 or more. And yet, BYD's new model is poised to become the first mass-market aerial vehicle on the planet. Not because it's the flashiest, but because it's practical, approachable, and built with the same philosophy that made BYD's EVs such a hit. Scale first, polish later.
really hope that this is something we can do a little bit more regularly now. But in reality, a lot of things have been happening in the background, and he's going to be joined on the stage by Elon Musk.
I was going to introduce Pete, but Juan's done so.
I think we'll tell you a little bit about how the whole thing got started, and then I'll introduce you to the full self-driving computer and tell you a little bit about how it works. Hopefully you'll all still be awake by then. I'd like to point out that this is actually a pretty small computer. It fits behind the glove box, between the glove box and the firewall in the car.
Any part of this could fail, and the car will keep driving. Our circuits fail. You could have one of the Tesla full self-driving computer chips fail, but that is objectively what has occurred. Not best by a small margin, best by a huge margin. All the things that are obvious for a next generation chip we're doing.
One thing I will point out is I spoke about the data engine as iterating on neural networks, but we do the exact same thing on the level of software and all the hyperparameters that go into the choices of when we actually lane change, how aggressive we are.
Yeah. Well, you know, Mad Max would have a hard time in LA traffic, I think.
To start all of this, we begin with trying to understand the world around us. And so I'll talk to this clip right now. This basically is showing what's happening today in the car, and we're continuing to push this forward. We bring in the other sensors, and we convert that into what one calls vector space.
Shares of BYD are up more than 40% in 2025.
Not just a low-cost EV maker, competitive company, and this is what keeps executives in the West up at night.
They won before this, so and it's just adding more salt to the wound.
They're definitely talking about this company called BYD.
Tinkering with these technologies over many number of years.
Rivals outdone by this achievement include Tesla.
Right now, Tesla is racing to perfect full self-driving, and legacy automakers are pouring billions into AI-based ride-hailing fleets. But none of them saw this coming. While others chase premium features and theoretical autonomy, BYD just made urban air travel an actual thing for under $5,000. That kind of move rewrites the rules. You don't need to invent the future. You just need to price it low enough that people can buy in. What's under the hood, or rather, under the wings, is just as bold as the sticker price. The car uses a full electric propulsion system driven by compact, high-efficiency motors that run clean and quiet. It's designed to fly low, below heavily regulated airspace, with a max altitude of around 1,000 feet and a top speed of 80 miles per hour. That's plenty fast for dodging rush hour traffic or zipping from one neighborhood to the next. With a flight range of 25 to 30 miles per charge, it's not built for cross-country trips. It's built for your daily grind, with a side of airspace freedom. The entire frame is engineered to be lightweight and agile, coming in at just over 1,500 pounds. That makes takeoffs and landings smoother, and yes, it can do both in small areas. Forget airports or helipads. BYD's design can lift off from a parking lot and land in your backyard. And with retractable landing gear, it shifts seamlessly from road mode to flight mode. It's not a drone you sit in. It's an actual car that flies. Inside, the controls are stripped down and simple. No dizzying panels or complex switches. This thing was built for regular drivers, not licensed pilots. There's talk of a basic route guidance system, maybe even GPS-based tracking, but everything is centered around making flying intuitive. No learning curve, no simulator training. Just push a button, hold the controls steady, and let the onboard stability software handle the rest. Speaking of software, BYD hasn't confirmed full autonomy yet, but there are strong hints that future updates might include assisted flight features and possibly even automated routing. They've already mastered vehicle automation in its EVs, so expanding that tech to airborne models feels like a logical next step. Plus, given the growing ecosystem of smart mobility infrastructure across Chinese cities, the groundwork is already there. Powering all of this is a new variant of BYD's proven battery tech. Reports suggest the flying car is equipped with customized lithium-ion packs, likely based on BYD's proprietary innovations. They're lighter, more durable, and faster to charge, estimated at just about 1 hour for a full top-up. There's even speculation about solar augmentation, with panels built into the frame to give the battery a passive boost while the vehicle is parked. That kind of feature would be game-changing in urban areas with limited grid access, or just as a way to squeeze out a few extra miles. Safety, of course, is non-negotiable. The car comes equipped with auto stabilizers and altitude controls, meaning it maintains a safe, steady flight even if the weather shifts or the driver makes a mistake. It also includes emergency landing protocols and backup power systems to ensure that even if something goes wrong mid-air, there's still a safe path back to the ground. All of this is baked into the core software and tested extensively under national and international guidelines. No shortcuts, no gimmicks, just smart, solid design. There's even talk that BYD is working with regulators to fast-track a certification path that could eventually be adopted by other countries. Right now, most airspace laws are built for planes and helicopters, but as vehicles like this become more common, governments are being forced to reconsider. And with BYD leading the charge, that change could happen sooner than anyone expected. For now, this flying car is aimed squarely at urban mobility. That means it's not trying to compete with commercial airlines. It's trying to replace your city commute. Instead of spending an hour in bumper-to-bumper traffic, you spend 15 minutes in the air, silently skipping over the gridlock. That's not science fiction anymore. That's BYD's $5,000 promise. And here's where it gets even more disruptive. BYD isn't just selling a new product. They're launching a whole new market segment. Infrastructure, service hubs, rooftop charging, aerial routes, it's all in development. There are rumors that BYD is partnering with city governments in China to create dedicated flight corridors and urban landing zones. If that happens, flying cars won't just be toys for the rich. They'll be an actual working part of daily life. Compare that to competitors still caught in concept land, and you'll see why this is making so much noise. No other company has managed to pull together tech, manufacturing, pricing, and regulation this quickly. Tesla's closest effort is still grounded, and other major names are years away from even a prototype. BYD, meanwhile, is ready to ship. As demand grows, prices may shift, but the message is already clear. Flying transportation isn't just for the elite anymore. It's the next logical step in the evolution of clean, efficient mobility. And BYD is already 2 steps ahead of everyone else. So here we are, standing at the edge of a new age in transportation, one where cars don't just roll, they fly, and for the first time in history, that's a reality within reach. Not for the wealthy, not for the few, but for anyone who dares to dream a little higher. What happens next? That's up to the rest of the industry. But one thing's certain, BYD just changed the altitude. And just when the world thought BYD had shown all its cards, another surprise surfaced. This time, not in the battery or the sky, but beneath the hood of their strategy. Vertical integration on a scale that even Tesla hasn't matched. It turns out the secret sauce behind BYD's rapid rise isn't just about flashy flying cars or breakthrough battery chemistry. It's about how the company has quietly taken over every step of its supply chain, from the raw materials to the final assembly and even the chips that run it all. This kind of full-spectrum control is what's allowing BYD to move faster, cheaper, and more confidently than anyone else in the transportation game. Most car makers, even the big names, still rely on third parties for essential components, not BYD. Over the past few years, BYD has been buying up mining rights, building in-house chip factories, developing their own semiconductors, and setting up software teams to design vehicle operating systems from scratch. That means no more waiting on chip shortages or battery shipments. They make what they need when they need it and tweak it instantly when the market shifts. During the pandemic, when global carmakers were stuck in neutral due to supply disruptions, BYD kept humming along because it didn't need anyone else to keep the lights on. One of the least talked about, yet most revolutionary moves BYD made recently was entering the semiconductor race. While the world scrambled to get chips for everything from smartphones to refrigerators, BYD's semiconductor division, BYD Semiconductor Co., was already mass-producing power devices specifically designed for EVs. These chips don't just control battery performance, they optimize the entire powertrain, helping BYD achieve better efficiency and smoother ride quality without third-party hardware. And since they're custom-built, there's no lag time between design and deployment. They think it, build it, and ship it. No middlemen, no bottlenecks. But it goes even deeper. BYD now has a direct hand in mining lithium, refining rare earth materials, and processing the components that go into their batteries. They've secured access to lithium sources in China and Africa, reducing reliance on unstable supply lines and volatile global markets. While competitors watch lithium prices spike and panic about sourcing, BYD shrugs it off. They are already locked in the materials. That's allowed them to offer lower-priced EVs without gambling on fluctuating raw material costs, something that's crippled other automakers who depend on imported materials. Another area where BYD is quietly pulling ahead is in its software ecosystems. While most brands outsource digital interfaces or cobble together third-party solutions, BYD is building its own operating system tailored specifically to electric mobility. The result is faster updates, more seamless integration with hardware, and more control over data. It's not just about screen design or menu animations, it's about how the car talks to the battery, how it learns the driver's habits, and how it improves energy use over time. This internal system is already active in several of BYD's latest models and is expected to be included in their upcoming flying car release as well. All of this vertical integration feeds into one final weapon: speed. BYD can take a concept, tweak a component, reroute supply chains, test a prototype, and get it into production in months, sometimes weeks. That kind of agility is rare in an industry known for delays and cost overruns. It also explains how they've managed to expand into over 70 international markets, launching new models and adapting to different regulatory landscapes without missing a beat. While the West focuses on high-profile product launches and flashy press conferences, BYD has been building a machine, a company structured like a living organism that adapts instantly and grows in real time. From the wiring harness to the dashboard interface, from the powertrain chip to the final coat of paint, BYD either builds it themselves or owns the people who do. And that level of control means they can cut costs, dodge delays, and take wild bets, like launching the world's cheapest flying car, and actually follow through. There's also a subtle but important advantage to this strategy that doesn't get enough attention: resilience. If a new emissions rule drops in Europe, or a new trade restriction hits in North America, BYD doesn't have to scramble. They can reconfigure supply routes, redesign components, or spin up a localized factory to stay compliant. They've already done this in regions like Brazil, Hungary, and Thailand, building assembly plants and battery factories to meet local regulations while reducing tariffs and shipping costs. This makes BYD less vulnerable to trade wars, environmental policy shifts, or regional instability. While others pause and plan, BYD builds. BYD isn't just building flying cars, it's building the future. With a young, fast-moving team free from outdated thinking, they're creating bold tech and training talent to match. Instead of waiting for approval, they're shaping the market themselves. Beyond the $5,000 flying car, the real power lies in BYD's full control over design, parts, and software. They're not just winning, they're rewriting the rules of global transportation. The information presented in this video is based on available insights and may include elements of interpretation, speculation, or unverified sources. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.